Hi, it's Aaron Davison. Welcome to my program, Music Licensing and the Real State of the Music Business. And during this program, I'm going to dispel what I think is a really common misconception currently held by musicians about the music business and about the current state of the music business. And there seems to be this sort of general consensus that the music business is headed downhill in this completely irrecoverable direction, and that it's never been a worse time to be a musician, and that it's really hard to make money in the music business currently. And it's actually my opinion that in a lot of ways, it's actually never been a better time to be a musician. And I think that in general, the music business as a whole has actually never been healthier. And during this program, I'm going to share with you some statistics, quotes, and facts about the music business that I came across in researching this program. I think they're going to surprise you and enlighten you, and I hope they give you a improved perspective on the music business and the music licensing business. So first of all, back to CD sales. So we all know CD sales have been declining, and while that's true, other aspects of the music business, other revenue streams have actually been increasing. Here's a quote from a recent LA Times article that I found regarding CD sales and licensing revenue. Here's the quote. As physical CD sales have tumbled, major label publishing revenues have experienced an upswing. For the 9-year period beginning in 1999, CD sales dipped 45%, according to Nielsen SoundScan. Meanwhile, Warner Music Group's publishing arm, Warner Chappell, saw a 19% uptake in film, TV, and licensing revenue for the 3-year period beginning in 2006. So since 1999, CD sales have dropped almost 50%, which is a dramatic downswing. But at the same time, since 2006, so the last 4 years, Warner Chappell, one of the major publishing divisions of one of the major record labels, has seen a close to 20% increase in revenue from film, TV, and ad licensing. Meanwhile, last year, ASCAP, the largest performing rights organization, not only did they just have an amazing year in general in terms of money paid out to their members, but they actually had their best year ever in the history of ASCAP. So in 2009, in one of the worst economic years in history, ASCAP paid out more money to its members than it ever has in the entire history of the organization, which I think is an amazing fact. They paid out $863 million to their members, which was a 5.5% increase over 2008. Here's a quote from ASCAP's CEO, John Lofermento. Music is performed more often, in more places, in more ways, by more businesses than ever before. That expanded music use, combined with dramatic ASCAP membership growth, market share increases, and effective strategic management, have led to stunning revenue and distribution growth for 2009. So ASCAP had a record year in 2009, which I think is pretty amazing, and a huge chunk of that comes from music licensing revenue. What about BMI, the other major performing rights organization in the U.S.? Well, guess what? BMI had their best year ever, best year in the history of their organization as well in 2009. Here's a quote from BMI's annual report. BMI had an increase in both revenues and royalty distributions for the past year, a significant achievement in an economic environment that has been perhaps the most challenging in the company's 70-year history. BMI realized revenues of more than $905 million and royalty distributions totaling more than $788 million, both higher than BMI's historic results of the previous year. So in 2009, both performing, the two major performing rights organizations in the U.S. both paid out more money to its members than they have ever in the history of both organizations. Music licensing is a huge business right now, and when I hear musicians sort of talking about whether or not, what's the likelihood of making money in the music business or the music licensing business in general, You know, the question isn't whether or not there's money to be made, because clearly there is money to be made. It's being made. The question is whether or not you're going to make part of that money, whether or not part of this huge pie is going to go to you. Music licensing annually, and this is according to a recent MSNBC report on music licensing, is a $20 billion a year business. And you might be wondering why the huge discrepancy between, if ASCAP pays out close to $1 billion and BMI as well, close to $1 billion, but music licensing is this $20 billion a year business. Where does this extra money come from? And you have to remember that when you get paid for licensing your music, you don't only get paid from performing rights organizations, you also receive licensing fees up front. And sometimes those are pretty dramatic depending on where your music is licensed. For ad campaigns, for example, sometimes music licensing fees on the front end can pay as much as $50,000. Now, these are not necessarily typical placements. They're not typical placements, but they can be that high. So the point is, there's a lot of money to be made in music licensing. I think now is a great time to be a musician. There's a lot of opportunities out there. And in the next couple days, I'm going to be releasing another video about a course I have called the 90-Day Challenge, which is going to be my most in-depth, comprehensive course on music licensing I've ever done. So keep your eyes peeled to this video blog for more information on that. I hope you enjoyed this video. Also check out, I've posted a couple links below this video to both ASCAP's website as well as the BMI annual report, so you can see the figures that I quoted for yourself in this video. Hope you enjoyed this, and I'll talk to you soon.